Buckle up. This is going to be a long video.
How's it going, everyone? It's good to be back. Now, truth be told, I'm going to try and get this all in one shot. Now, that being said, there will probably be a lot of pauses and a lot of awkward transitions here, so I kind of have a bit of a cheat sheet right around here because there's a lot I want to kind of go over as I'm making my way back into the circles of reconnecting with people and, of course, kind of getting back on track. But before I even do that, there's just a lot to go through. Now, again, I'm filming this the 30th, which is the day before I officially come back off of my hiatus at the beginning of Spoopy month, which will be the beginning of October. I don't know what that was, but regardless, though, see, even actors and voice actors have little human moments. But regardless, though, so long story short, guys, thank you so much for the love and support for when I was about to go on hiatus. I saw a lot of your comments. Thank you guys very much for the recommendations and for just the well wishes and the encouragement. It really meant a lot to me. Now, I'm pretty sure some of you are wondering and probably asking, why did you go on hiatus for so long? So I guess to answer that, it's, again, going to be a rather lengthy discussion. So to, I guess, tackle the immediate elephant in the room, the reason why I went on hiatus is to address at least the practical sense of the issue, which is basically in regards to my computer. As some of you might have read in my makeshift twit longer, I was collaborating with another artist, another VTuber friend of mine. Not to say that I'm one, but you know what I'm talking about. We were just about to go live, and I was in the process of launching a modded version of Peak, and all of a sudden my computer just has a massive critical failure. Everything that I'm trying to troubleshoot is not working. I can't even get to the Windows screen when I boot up my computer. So I basically jump ship. I'm like, guys, have fun. Don't worry about me. I'll try and figure this out. And lo and behold, I call up my best friend that I've known since elementary school. He starts troubleshooting me ideas and solutions. And long story short, the amount of work and problem solving and ways to bypass the problems that my computer is now facing, it's just not worth it at this point to kind of go out of my way to remedy this problem. So for all intents and purposes, my computer is RIP. It's done. And I think, in all honesty, this was going to happen sooner or later. My computer, I first built back in 2010, so it's close to 15 years old, and I think the tech inside of it is very kind of like Frankenstein, like something is I think the only thing that's relatively new-ish in it is my RAM, and even then with that, there's like my graphics card, which is still like a decade old, and so regardless, though, the computer, that's a done deal. That's basically like not up for debate. So what does this mean moving forward? I'll get to that in a second, but that at least is the kind of the perfect excuse that I kind of gave myself to kind of go on this hiatus. The real reason why I went on this hiatus is because even before the problems with my computer and before this critical failure, I was re-experiencing, and I not to keep interrupting myself, but I kind of hinted toward this in my makeshift twit longer, where I was feeling kind of disconnected. I was feeling just a resurgence of things that I honestly thought I was done with. I may or may not have shared at one point or other during my streams that I have struggled and dealt with depression, and I have dealt with feelings of anxiety and a couple of just spiritual and mental hurdles in my life that I thought, for all intents and purposes, were finished. And And I really equate my faith to me coming as far as I have just in that arena alone, which is why I, along with another set of reasons why I want to go on this hiatus, but I couldn't pinpoint why I was feeling these feelings of depression and just kind of burnout and just feeling like, okay, what am I even doing with my life, kind of a thing. And I want to make something abundantly clear. It's no one's fault. This is just something that I've been thinking about and pondering for a very long time. And some of you who kind of just have ever dealt with depression before, it's a very elusive monster to fight. And sometimes it doesn't really give you a reason why it's there or why it rears its ugly head. And I'd kind of forgotten from more, I hate to say back in my youth, but as someone who has grown up with consuming and playing a lot of content, especially back in the 90s, early 2000s, video games were a very dear comfort and an escape for me. But as I got older and I tried to set out to do things as an adult, I went to university, as I may or may not have mentioned, to set a career in the entertainment industry outside of acting. Actually, as I got my degree in film production, and I wanted to be an editor. But as soon as I graduated, I recognized I didn't like editing for other people. But anyways, I digress. So the reason why I bring up video games is because when at a point in my life, and of course this was during the pandemic, so a lot of things were going kind of loony during that time. Video games were kind of like a constant for me, among other such distractions. And the more I poured myself into these video games and just like escapism in general, the more I was just kind of ignoring my own problems and ignoring the issues that I had kind of created for myself. And there was a time where I recognized that video games weren't kind of scratching that itch for me the way that they had in the past. And that's a whole different conversation. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because as I have further endeavored to expand and to grow in the streaming waters, which are still kind of new for me, I recognized that there was something about just revisiting video games like that, because that was kind of like a pastime that I wasn't really paying too much attention to in my life anymore. But having said that now, I recognize that a lot of the depression was kind of coming from just distracting myself. And there was just, it wasn't just video games, there's more to it than that. But that definitely was like a big brick in the whole foundation of this whole depression fortress that was built in my very being. And it was a bit of a cold splash of reality when I realized it. Because, like, obviously, if you distract yourself from your problems, then you're not really solving them. So when I was further developing my journey into streaming, I thought that, like, if I just focused on games that I kind of knew and I was familiar with and not really getting mixed up into the whole, like, ecosystem of video games, and that's just kind of how the nature of video games, where something new will always come along, grab your attention, whisk you away on some adventure, and then rinse and repeat. That's just the whole industry of video games. And again, I'm not bashing video games or anything like that. It's just, I know for me, they don't really add anything to me. They don't really give anything positive, or they don't make me the person that I want to be, or they don't, like, I just see them as a distraction. And that's all they are. And so even when I would interact with you guys, and interact with my audience, my duckies, after I stopped streaming, there would just be this familiar wave of loneliness and depression and just overall. And the real weird part was is that it was strangely familiar. And I guess maybe a bit of my, I know I've already been talking way too much already. However, I feel like it's important because there's something I'd at least wanted to highlight and share with you guys, because part of my testimony for why I am a Christian and why I have put my faith and my hope in Christ, and is ultimately he saved me from my own machinations. And that might be just another time where I'll probably get further deeper into that. But as a kid, as I mentioned, growing up in the 90s and growing up during a time where honestly content was awesome, cartoons, the resurgence and the new expansion of video games and technology, it was an exciting time to in a crazy time to be a kid. And as a kid, I chose to confine myself into this game room that we had with me and my family in our big house out in Palmdale, and that's where I spent literally a majority of my time. And I would use every excuse that I had in the book to either just not do what kids should do, either go to school or do homework or what have you, just to watch cartoons or just to watch play video games. And my parents never really policed that. But and this could be very much a cautionary tale for anyone who's watching who has kids. I say this in the most loving way possible. Be intentional about what your kids are consuming and also the time that they are consuming it. But anyways, the reason why I bring this up is because although I have a lot of positive memories playing these games, and like Legend of Zelda, Star Fox 64, Smash Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, I was a hardcore Nintendo kid back in the day. But as much as a lot of these games gave me happiness and distracted me, I couldn't help but just feel like alone and disconnected. They didn't help me to connect with people. They didn't help me to be a better student at school. I struggled a lot as a kid. And but oddly enough, video games and content watching was a constant for me. So I never really gave myself an excuse or a reason to want to get better at connecting with people. I had to learn that the hard way. And as I might have mentioned, at least at some point or other in one of my streams, where it's only until negative reinforcement comes in where you're kind of have to force to be like, oh, I guess I can't play video games and watch content all day because school isn't going away and I have to go to summer school and people are looking at me because I can't do basic multiplication or basic addition. And people tend to think that you're a little on the unintelligent side if you can't do the math curriculum or basic reading comprehension, or even have a basic conversation with someone, because all you care about is just regurgitating what you saw on the TV that day. But regardless, though, I'm already getting off topic, or I'm already kind of like oversharing too much. But anyways, back to the elephant in the room. It's abundantly apparent that I can't incorporate video games into streaming anymore. And I know it, and I'll even go so far as to say, like just video games just don't do it for me anymore. Because every time I do, and even if it's like still like a positive experience, that familiar spirit of depression always comes back. And I'm back in that same video game room, and I'm alone, and it's just, I don't know how else to describe it. In the Christian faith, we call it a familiar spirit, and it goes more into deliverance, and it goes more into how the realms of the demonic operate. But regardless, though, it was a spirit that I knew intimately, and it knew me, and in a weird way, it was nostalgic and familiar, but it followed me, and it was almost kind of like that every time I did play video games, like it was, especially again when I got older, it just got worse. And so now I'm kind of at that point where it's like I don't even want to bother with it anymore, because kind of shifting in more to a positive. Um, what did the hiatus do for me? Being away from social media and from streaming and just basically a plethora of other things. One, I realized just how awful the environment of social media is, and how much I was spending and pouring my time into it. Um, to say that it's unproductive is an understatement, to say the least. And part of me just kind of wants to like just delete my Facebook, delete my Instagram, delete my Twitter. But excuse me. Um, Sorry, I don't know if you can hear, but there's there's gardeners out. Maybe I should have filmed this video at a different time or at a different point during the day. Regardless, though, where was I? Oh yeah, that's right. So, wait, no, I think I blame you, gardener. Good grief! Holy cow! Yes. So yeah, social media and just everything else, it really removes the distractions from your life. And what was really even great about that, just cutting social media and consuming content out of my, I guess, my um, diet of just viewership, I guess, or maybe that isn't the right word, but regardless, you know what I'm talking about. And this includes like YouTube videos and stuff like that, just consuming constantly, like just content. And what was great about the rest of the month is that before I left, I was going to go on a trip to Sheridan, Wyoming to visit family. And I went with my folks, and that was just a much needed trip. Sheridan, Wyoming is a very beautiful state, and it's a very beautiful city. It's cowboy country. So it's a very small community of people that just really kind of know each other. There's a lot of natural beauty, just a hop, skip, and a jump to Yellowstone. And it's the second time that I've been there. And of course, time with the family was wonderful. I got a chance to really just dive into the Word and read my Bible and pray, and God's voice was just so clear. And it was the clearest I've heard His voice in a long time. And I don't know if I'll be able to share any of the videos or photos or anything like that. I think at some point I will, whether in this video, either overlaid or what have you. But I'm on my uncle's back porch, and I'm just overlooking this just vast field. There's mountains in the background. And what's really cool, I didn't know this, but Wyoming is just known for its skies. All the cloud formations that you see are just so, like, they look like each one is just painted by Bob Ross. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and again, it's so quiet. It's so quiet out there, and it's so peaceful. There's no sounds of traffic, there's no sounds of cars screeching out and burning out, or there's no sounds of like noisy neighbors. There's a lot of acreage, and there's a lot of room for people just to kind of like just do whatever, you know. And there was no like unwelcomed noise, I guess. Granted, I live in California, so that's just kind of the norm here, whether you're in a suburban neighborhood or what have you. But yeah, out there, it was just so much natural beauty, so much peace and tranquility, and it was very much needed. And I had a lot of great memories while visiting out there with my cousins and my family, and of course my parents. And we got a chance to catch up and talk about a lot. And it was, again, just much needed. It was medicine, and I guess chicken soup for the soul. I remember that being a book series, but I don't know if that ties in. But regardless, though, where to transition from here? Oh, that's right. So even though I was away from all the noise, all the distractions, all the social media and other content that just didn't really further my life, and it just offered so many other distractions. As you guys probably know by now, there were two very polarizing events that happened in our country. One, of course, was the I don't know how else to put it, like eloquently, but basically they were two horrible tragedies that happened. One, of course, was, as you guys know, one was on the subway with a Ukrainian woman, and of course the other one was Charlie Kirk. And even despite being outside of the realms of social media, it's like there's no way that in heck you can avoid that. And when I heard that news, I was devastated. Now I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I knew Charlie personally. Outside of the clips, outside of his debates and his discussions, he was a man of God. He was a Christian, and he was very bold, and he was very articulate, and he was intelligent, and I admired the heck out of him. And yeah, and I remember hearing about it, and then of course kind of breaking a little bit of my hiatus. I'm like, wait, is this actually happening? And then lo and behold, it was. And I guess I'm still kind of, I guess a lot of people are still kind of getting over it. And again, of course, there was the memorial service not too long ago. And Charlie was a man that I genuinely looked up to. A man that he was a father, and he was a man who loved God and loved people. And I know that there are some people out there who don't agree with his messaging and don't think that he was a good person. That's fine. You can have that perspective. But something that he did that I greatly admired, that I wanted to at least try my head at, but I'm very much someone who would rather just keep his mouth shut over controversial topics, and just to keep the peace, I guess. What he wanted, and it's something that I firmly believed in, was that he wanted people to come back to a common place of just discussion, because he recognized that things were getting so polarized in our country that we weren't talking anymore. And something that he said that I 100% agree with was that when people stop talking, violence starts breeding. It starts manifesting. And it was true. It's very true. And I want to keep that memory alive. I want to start creating content that matters to me, and not just simply creating content because I know it'll get views or anything like that. Even though that's not what I set out to stream for, but I want to at least start having tough conversations with people, because I firmly believe that we need God in this country now more than ever. We absolutely need the compassion and love of Christ. And I wholeheartedly endorse that. And I know that there are some that are watching this video right now, where you probably either viscerally disagree with my words right now, or it might be a shock to you. That's okay. and I know that there are those out there that celebrated his death, Charlie's death, I mean, and think that he deserved it because of reasons. That's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. But I just want to let you know that I don't hate you, and I don't hate anybody. It's just not in my nature. But anyways, moving forward, what does the future look like? I guess maybe for me streaming. If you're, this might be the checkout point for some people, and that's fine, you know. But if you're hanging around for this long, in regards to what I want to stream from here on out, I want to stream content that encourages people, that gets people thinking, that that builds people up in regards to my my Christian faith, and I'd like to on that. I think I'm going to start a Bible study. I don't know how I'm going to fit it into my schedule or what book I'm going to cover, but at some point or other, I'd like to get to the book of Revelation. I think I'll probably start with the Gospel of John, if you guys are interested in that, or you want to learn more about just the Christian faith in general, or if you want to know who Christ was. I encourage you to discover that with me. Now, again, I'm not a pastor. I'm not someone who would consider himself an expert, even though I've kind of grown up in the church. I feel like I'm a very lazy and bad example of what a Christian is. But regardless, though, I know that that is what is important to me. And it's what is important for everyone, I feel. Because we only do have one life to live. And at the end, we have to ask ourselves a very important question. When we eventually breathe our last and close our eyes for the last time, where are we going? Do we just phase out of nothingness? Or if there is an afterlife, how can you be sure of where you're going to go? And that's at least just a heads up, or like a challenge that I extend to you guys. Now, I know that this might come as a shock as to some people, but again, you're more than welcome to tune in or tune out or unfollow me or what have you. I don't care at this point. And I don't know what the future's going to hold, but yeah, I just know this is what is important. So yes, in regards to the Bible study, that's something that I want to put all my energies into. I want to start reading books online, things that I've been, actually, quite frankly, been on my shelf for goodness knows how long. But I want to focus on getting smarter, reading more, and hopefully you guys will join me on that. And also, I do want to continue with the cooking streams, because that is part of what's important to me, trying to eat healthier, live a healthier lifestyle, and share what I learn and what I know with you guys. And I guess maybe to wrap things up here, I just want to make sure I cover all my bases here. I got my little cheat sheet in front of me. Oh, that's right, yeah. Limited capacities, yeah. Okay, yeah. So, I guess maybe for the future. So will I continue to stream? Yes, but again, just in limited capacities where most likely I'll be shifting all my energies to Bible study, to reading, and to cooking. So I think those three primary things I want to kind of focus on and really start zeroing in on in regards to content creation. So, and what really kind of sucks is that I know that there are a lot of you out there that have either been wanting me to revisit certain games, and I know some of you have even given me certain games, and that means the world to me that you guys have. I don't want to overlook that, and I can't thank you enough for whether it be the Duck Simulator. Ari, thank you. Artsy, thank you for Final Fantasy X, but I can't do it anymore. Um, and I wish there was a cleaner way that I can wrap this up. But ultimately, I know this will open up a lot of awkward conversations in the future, but I invite each and every one of you to engage with me and talk with me. And I'd like to, if you have questions, if you have what have you, please let's not talk. That's at least what my hope and my prayer is. So, that being said, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you around. Take care. God bless you. Jesus loves you. And I'll see you soon.